Hark the bardic paladin, who sings and plays again. He tells the tales of glory and weaves a magic story. He'll join you at your table and ask you to share a fable. Heroes of humble origin, villains who must be fought again. No matter their skill or prowess, the people in life are countless. So we pray you heed our request. Enjoy this tale of sidekicks and side quests. And side quests.
Episode 12. Roosevelt the Triton Prince of the Dead City.
Welcome to Sidekicks and Side Quests, the Dungeons & Dragons podcast that helps to put humans back into humanity and breathe life into your campaign NPCs with backstory and bravado. That's right, we're building a world, one character at a time. I am your host, Kurt Krenwelge, the Bardic Paladin, and I'll be joining
Joseph Anthony's table in the levitating platter.
Hello, Joseph. Glad that I could make it and catch you at your table for a nice chat.
Thanks for meeting me here, Kurt.
And as we start every episode, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, so my name's, as you said, I'm Joseph. I'm a quality assurance analyst, so I do for a mobile game company. So basically, I do software testing on games. Not so much playing them a bunch, more so playing them and then writing in spreadsheets.
Oh, okay. So, but you still get enjoyment out of playing games. You don't get, oh my gosh, I play games all day. I don't want to go home and play any more games. Or
I don't, because when at work, I have to find bugs and report them. Right. But when I'm at home, I can just enjoy the games and I don't have to worry about it.
You don't have to worry about reporting bugs. You just get to enjoy them.
Exactly. It makes games more fun because I get to do anti-work.
Nice. That's a good way to put it. There you go, folks. Joseph just patented a new hashtag. Hashtag anti-work.
I don't know if I want to be associated with anti-work.
Oh, okay. Well, moving on to our next question. Do you currently or have you ever played Dungeons & Dragons or any tabletop role-playing game?
So, funny story. I've only played Dungeons & Dragons on 2 occasions.
2 occasions?
Yes. One was at my previous job. Where we had, I think, 2 sessions before the group fell apart because we had too much work.
Okay.
And then the second session was just last week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I've enjoyed both a lot, and I've always wanted to play, but I never could get around to it. So I'm glad to be starting something.
Dipping your toes in the cool water. And who's your character now that you're playing?
So right now I'm playing a Dragonborn cleric of the life domain.
Okay.
He's a tall, strong, buff boy.
Nice.
And we're playing through a West Marches campaign with a couple of different DMs in this sort of custom setting they put us in.
So you like that style of play of being able to plug in and plug out whenever you're available or when a group's like, hey, we need our paladin.
So this format is one I just kind of was brought into. It's one they keep up at my job. Mm-hmm. I'm fine with either, really, because I make my own games. I made a tabletop one that I would run for people, and those were built to be real short experiences, so not a 4 or 40 hour long campaign or nothing, just something you could finish in an hour to 3 hours. So I'm cool with either people dropping in and out and sort of a steady group going forward. I'm more in for it for that role playing and using a character's abilities type of stuff.
Well, for the podcast audience, I'm going to extend my fist in a fist bump with Joseph since we are paladin bros. So, awesome. So the next question, do you have a favorite NPC from an RPG or video game, and why are they your favorite NPC?
So this is somewhat cheating. Well, is it cheating? Nah. So Pagan Min.
Okay.
I believe it's Far Cry 4.
Correct, yes.
It was
voiced by Troy Baker.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, pretty cool.
It's cool. But he was one of my the favorite characters of recent memory. He always stuck out. He was like charming and charismatic.
Yeah.
There was the whole deal of like you could beat the game by just like waiting.
I know, that's so crazy. I'd never experienced that in a game before.
Yeah, just trusting what the NPC villain tells you to do, and they follow through on it.
Yeah, that's true. If memory serves me, at the very start of the game, he says, "Oh, wait here while I go deal with something." And the game rewards you literally if you sit there for 15 minutes, I think, not touching your controller. Then he comes back, and then you beat the game. But it's like you don't learn about the formal plot or narrative of the game, which is interesting. And then I think at the end, you also have some choices as well with how you want to resolve your relationship with him as well. So you can either choose to be like, I'm going to fight the bad guy, or no, I'm going to cooperate with the bad guy. And either way, you could still have a completely different ending for Far Cry 4 as well.
Yeah, it's so cool. I remember I just got up and I was just looking around his palace, and he came back like, "Oh, where are you?" And I just walked back to my seat and like, "I'm right here." Because you're there to deliver your mother's ashes. And he's like, "Oh, well, I can help you with that.
Right.
You can deliver them, and then I'll pay for you to leave. There's stuff going on right now, revolution against me, dictator. But you're not involved, so just go." And so it's as you progress through the game, you learn more about like what started this whole revolution in the first place, and how it somewhat blurs the lines of, well, who was actually the bad person in this situation?
I know, yeah, and however the game resolves, if you decide to disobey at the very beginning and go off on this adventure, kind of the hero factions, if you could call them, there's two different competing factions as far as the Golden Path revolutionaries are concerned, and so it's like you either... Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't played the game, but it's like, all right, we're going to give into drugs and child slavery or whatever, or we're going to uphold this religious tradition, but we're going to murder anyone that doesn't subscribe to our particular religious beliefs.
Yeah, it's thank you for the spoiler alert. Now you can talk about it. It's so interesting because over the course of the game, and this is a trend in a lot of Far Cry games, of you're a heroic character, but you don't always do a good thing. When you're working with the Golden Path, you see the slow evolution of these characters into like resistance fighters, into their more radical selves of military dictator again, or religious cult dictator from the previous games. So and when you look at Pagan Min, who's more of a kind of just an unfortunate consequence of the rebels' original actions.
Right.
It eases up how I viewed him. Like, you were just in a kind of a bad situation. He's been the most honest and upfront with me of any character in the entire game.
That's true.
Which is hilarious. But I also think what makes him such an interesting character, and especially an interesting villain.
Right, so it's like, can we really call him a villain, or is he more of an anti-villain?
Well, he's still a military dictator of like a small country he took over.
Right.
It's just, as a person, he's somewhat more or better than the other people.
Right.
Because he's throwing all of his like soldiers and stuff at you to maintain control of the island. But as you wrest control from him, looking back, you've left a lot of destabilization in your wake, and now two other power mad people in control. It's kind of like the power vacuum whenever you take down a major.
Right. I think it's a Nepal Himalayan equivalent, not an island. I think the island was in number 3.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Well, Pagan Min's a great choice. All right, so moving on to our next question. What is your favorite side quest from an RPG or video game, and why is it your favorite?
Okay, so it took me a little bit, but I did get this one. And I forget the name of the exact quest, but I think it's the Maiden of Webwood or Windermere. Okay. It's from Kingdom of Amalur. And to preface, kind of the gist is there are fey creatures, which are kind of like plant humans, somewhat. They don't ever die. Like, the concept of death doesn't exist for them. They go to sleep by dying, and they just come back to life. They never actually die. If they are destroyed somehow, someone else just takes your name and becomes you. So it's a weird interaction between these humans, who are most definitely mortal, and in a war with the other Fae, who are also immortal. So it's a weird war. But in this particular quest, we explore how they tell their stories, because they do the same thing. You take the name of the hero, you become the hero, and via magic, the enemy who that hero overcame becomes real again. And so you conquer them, and that's a celebration of their like heroes and the stories that they told. With Kingdom of Amalur, as the player, the whole thing surrounds the fact that you don't abide by fate, because everything is somewhat pre-written for everyone. You have people who can read the fate strings.
Okay.
And they see, oh no, you cut all those strings, and I don't see any on you, so I don't know what you're going to do. So that's a huge ripple in this world.
Okay.
And when you're introduced to this story, the Maiden of Windermere, she's either an evil fae or like a Drider spider centaur woman.
Okay.
I forget, but she fell in love with a fae, and he's like, I'm supposed to vanquish you, but I also kind of like you too. And
that classic story of, oh, I gotta kill you, but you know what? I think you're pretty cool.
But you're really cool. And it's the retelling of this tragic love story. And during this route, she does something different, which they partially blame on you, because you are something different in the world. That
you're an anomaly in the Matrix.
Exactly.
Ah, okay.
And so they send you to go deal with it. And I felt so conflicted about what to do in that quest, because, like, I can understand being a villain and being in the same story, like, thousands of times, and just like, can we stop this? And you can finally gain the chance to stop it. And like, I don't want to, I just want to stop. I just want to have my nice romance. Just leave me alone. And I feel bad, but also she's terrorizing everyone within the webwood with her giant spiders.
Oh yeah.
So I still had to defeat her, but if I went to a second playthrough, I would probably just help her out. Just like leave her there, because I'm given that choice to just not fight her.
Right.
But that was such an interesting quest because it tied in so many of these weird social elements that this world had going for it.
Awesome. And to round out the personal interview section, what are you passionate about and why?
So I think I would sum up my passion as creating experiences for people, because I love making things, but I love making things and then presenting or giving it to people even more, which is why I think I fell into game design so much, because I designed something and I designed it for the purpose of other people to experience it. And something that just like drives me really strongly in a lot of the stuff I do. Yeah. Creating. I love making things. I do handcraft with like pipe cleaner. And
yeah, I remember some crazy things you've made with pipe cleaner.
I do foam craft because I have some foam cutting kits and stuff. I have some carpentry things and wood cutting. I have some logs I need to do something with over this weekend I'm planning for. And then I do my game design and my writing. Just a lot of creative outlets with like more physical and some that are just like read or experiences.
So to go along with that, you know, with the pipe cleaners and the foam and the carpentry and stuff, do you actually delve into any cosplay stuff, or do you just like to make things and then just give them to people to be like, here, I made this thing, I want you to enjoy it?
Oh, I have never done cosplay, as hard as it to believe. I love making stuff. I love the prop creation thing. Okay. I've just never, been one for it. I'm kind of easing into it, because I have friends who do cosplay and, like, go to conventions and stuff.
Right.
So I think I would be down for it. I just haven't done it before.
Sure. Well, that's awesome. Now that we've concluded with the personal interview, we'll go ahead and create an NPC. So, as we were prepping before recording, I believe you said that you had some writing prompts in front of you and that you would like to endeavor in the creative exercise of making an NPC live recording style with no dice rolling, no preconceptions. We're doing it live, right?
Exactly. That's what I want to do. I have a random art prompt generator.
Okay.
That I'm just going to generate several words from, and we're just going to go from there.
Okay. So let's see. Do you want to go ahead and do your questions first, and then we'll keep those in mind as we work our way down the NPC creation list?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so let's go ahead. I guess hit your magic button, and then we can write the words down. because certainly they could be useful for the adjectives section.
All right, I'm going to give it one more press.
Okay, to truly randomize it.
Exactly. Oh, okay. So it's a list of 10 words.
Okay.
So this one we have bakery, caravan,
Okay.
a letter from afar, a medieval castle, eye-catching, melancholy, monochrome, optimism, out of the rolling ocean, and silver jewelry.
Those are interesting words. Okay, so then let's keep these in mind because they could certainly very much come in handy. So the first question we have here is, what is this character's name?
I'm thinking something sad. I already have an idea in mind, something maybe royal.
Okay.
I'm thinking like Chester, or you know what? How about a Roosevelt?
Roosevelt. That's a
Yeah.
very strong, authoritative sounding name.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going with Roosevelt.
Yeah,
All right.
Roosevelt.
What is the ancestry for Roosevelt?
So, all right. So Roosevelt is a Triton, if I remember right. Those are the Aqua people.
Yeah, they're kind of like Abe Sapien.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Roosevelt the Triton. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what is the job or role of this character? I remember in the prompt it said bakery, so are you thinking that he's going to be a baker? Or base you were saying someone royal, so is he royalty? Or what's the job of Roosevelt?
Okay. So
Or the role?
I've manufactured a backstory from all of these.
Okay.
So he was a prince of a underwater kingdom.
Okay.
It wasn't a super large one, just sort of moderately sized.
Okay.
But something happened. I think like a disease just swept through the
Oh.
city, afflicting everyone.
Okay.
Except for him, for whatever reason.
Ooh.
He got up to just a ton of alchemy and like studying as everyone around him was succumbing to this disease.
Ooh.
But was unable to find a solution to it. So
Okay.
he's the prince of a dead kingdom until he
Ooh.
receives a letter telling him about a cure, or at least some kind of answer to what befell his, everyone around him.
Okay.
So he left this kingdom and is now on a sad journey to figure out what happened.
Okay, so a prince in exile on a quest to find a cure. So that's his role. So he's potentially someone that you could meet on the road, you could meet in a tavern, just wherever you need to plop him, and he could, interact with your player characters and tell his tale of woe and misery and stuff.
Exactly. Nothing catches eyes like a rich man with a sad story at a bar.
That's true. How old is Roosevelt?
I want to say he's been traveling for a while, so he's not a young man, but he's not super elderly. I'm not sure the age ranges of Triton, but maybe around like late 30s, early 40s.
Okay, so he's been around for a while.
Yeah, he's been around searching for a while.
Okay. Describe the physical appearance of Roosevelt.
So, and this is maybe tying on to the melancholy, optimism, and silver jewelry.
Okay.
I'd like to think that he's not wearing super posh royal clothes. It's super sort of subdued,
Okay.
tying in that monochrome.
Okay.
Maybe just like gray and blue with some silver accents for his like jewelry. He keeps some family signet like ring and a necklace that he got from his like mother or something.
Okay.
But just not too posh, but like kind of wealthy. Maybe like a tunic and some nice shirts, nice pants. He's always kind of like leaning over, like he's sad, but has this sort of sad smile, Eeyore kind of smile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking thin.
Okay.
I'm thinking thin, and I'm liking tall. I'm liking this sort of hunched over man who, whenever he stands up from the bar, you're like, oh, you're tall. Because
Right.
he's always so just curled in over himself.
Oh, okay. What 3 adjectives do you think describe Roosevelt the best then?
I think they would be... I'm going to steal the one I've been saying so much. Melancholy. He just has like somewhat of a kind of bummer vibe around him all the time.
Okay.
I'd like to think that he's helpful. I think helpful would be a good one. Like he sees people's plights with all that alchemy and experimenting experience and the ludicrous wealth of the entirety of his kingdom. He wherever he travels, he usually leaves people better off than whenever he showed up.
Okay, that's nice. And then the last adjective?
I want to say determination.
Determination.
Determined.
Ooh.
Because all his folks are dead. Like he's accepted that fact. But he's still on a quest to, like, seek this out, said it never happens again.
Okay.
And he's traveling for years, so he's not giving up. He's continuing on with this quest. So melancholy, helpful, and determined.
What is a valuable item, piece of lore, or secret that this character possesses, or if not any of those things, an ideal or concept, perhaps?
So two come to mind that I particularly like. One would be that, along with his family signet ring, he has a sort of a dull, like that necklace I was talking about. It's like a dull, tarnished silver necklace, but it's like inside is some precious royal family jewel that's given to the queen. And he just keeps it in this sort of trashy amulet because of its sentimental value.
Okay.
The other idea, and this was more for him, and just sort of a hint into, like, what kind of dark past. He's just super, super well versed in making any kind of poison or a toxin you can think of. Like, he's super well versed in diseases. He has a bunch in the caravan he travels in. Mm. One of his carts is just, and this jar is full of skin-eating disease. Don't open that one. Oh. He's just he's like this passive mad scientist where you just open the door and like, oh, this is in here.
Okay. So then, is this mission of his to find the cure, is this a side quest that he'd be willing to recruit or hire player characters to go on? Or would he have something else in mind as a side quest to assign a group of adventurers?
I think he would be the type to hire adventurers to go and explore like an information end for him.
Okay.
Like, he's found the writer of the letter, and they've pointed him to this place, and he needs you to go visit a town in, like, a sort of valley, hidden away region.
Okay.
And bring back information on if they have this, if they encountered this specific disease that supposedly plagued them, but they cured themselves of years ago.
So then what do you think would be the reward for the heroes then?
From Roosevelt, he, like I said, he's helpful, generous. So I'm thinking they'd be rewarded buku cash.
Okay.
Lots of cash. If any of them were interested in alchemy or whatnot, I'm sure he would be able to teach them, like, all right, here's how you make this crazy potion.
Okay.
So you can just make it yourself. Yeah, and it's never hurt to have a royal friend who travels around. You might encounter them again.
It's always nice to have friends with deep pockets, right?
Exactly.
What would be the consequence of failure or refusing the call?
Depending on how I felt about it, it would either be you now have to find another way to make up a large sum of money, such as, the police come through and are checking for people, actually who have their IDs with them, and like, oh, you don't? Well, in jail. And then you get out, but only on the deal that you got to pay, 400 gold and before you can actually leave. And like, where are we going to find that? Or have Roosevelt have a plague fall on the town. Like, something's about to happen, and Roosevelt is here investigating, like, the seasonal sickness is about to befall, and I need you to do something. No? Okay. He disappears the next day, and the next day after, some kind of disease befalls all the people.
So is it implied that Roosevelt just poisoned a town for being a slighted?
I like more that Roosevelt, like the Mothman, just seems to appear as a warning for when something bad, some sickness.
That would explain Roosevelt being so melancholy. Every place, even though he's helpful, every place he leaves seems to befall some sort of disaster.
Yeah. Whenever people don't, he's like, hey guys, the bees are acting weird. You guys should watch out. No? Well, all right. I'll mosey on. And then you have, like, bee sickness spread through all the people.
Oh, no. Oh, man. All right. And then let's see. I have a couple of extra optional questions. What do you think are the goals and motivations for this character, and how would they affect his personality?
I think that... as we spoke about before, that motivation is figuring out exactly what this disease was. Mm-hmm. I feel like it would give him... He has, like, kind of a one-track mind with it. Okay. He's not bothered by the disease talk or, like, however gross the medical side of this is. He's constantly pursuing it. Okay. And I would have that as, like, a bonus for that determination, but also a flaw, because he'll keep going no matter the cost.
Okay. Is there any particular way that he talks or speaks with, people of different groups or anything? Is he, since he's of royal lineage, is he a very haughty speaker, or does his melancholy make him like dark and brooding like Batman or something?
I like to think he would, I brought up Eeyore before.
Uh-huh.
Just sort of this slow, sad, but using like high, posh words kind of thing. Just like always kind of sad, but with a somewhat posh accent to it. Just always kind of droning. Just something like that is how I envision it.
Okay. And then finally, has this character made an impact on the world? Have they shaped the local area? And is there any problem that Roosevelt's dealing with that prevents him from being a bigger player on the stage?
I would say yes, for the reason you brought up before. Much like Mothman, most people who hear about the traveling seaman from the prince of a dead kingdom wandering around, rumors vary, but two are most prominent. Either he'll come to your town and save it from disaster, or he'll come to your town and curse you with disaster.
Oh.
Which makes him getting information from people a real 50-50, which is why he probably hires people.
Okay. Well, all right. I think we've learned quite a bit about Roosevelt, and I think it's safe to say we've encountered a random encounter. As we've learned in the last segment about who Roosevelt is, what he's motivated about, how he talks and stuff, I think it's safe to say that the scene we're going to set up is you being Roosevelt. And what do you think? Should I be just a normal patron in a bar? Should I be a prospective adventurer character? Or what? What do you think? What do you think would be a good scene?
I like the idea of someone unsure of him, a tavern keeper, or maybe like a quartermaster, someone who puts up the help wanted signs around town and knows that all the adventurers, kind of has some stake in the town.
Okay, so I will take the place of the mayor of the town, hammering up something on the local community board, and I guess you as Roosevelt are coming into town for the first time, and then I'm just discovering who you are and the aura that surrounds you. So setting the scene. So all right, getting this nice notice. Got rat problems. Maybe we can find some adventurers. And you're a strange-looking fellow. Who are you?
Hello, sir. My name is Roosevelt. I'm a prince searching the land for a cure.
A cure?
Yes.
What kind of a cure?
Unfortunately, my home kingdom is befallen to a dreadful disease, leaving them dead, I'm afraid.
Dead? Oh, no.
Yes, it's very unfortunate. I seek an answer to this disease, that no one else would ever have to experience what I have. I'm wondering if I could put up this sign in your town to attract adventurers to go on a quest for me.
Oh, I don't see a problem for putting up a sign, but I think I've heard tale of you, something about a harbinger of doom. So I hope you're not going to be bringing doom to my town, are you?
Well, I don't think so. From what I've studied in the local surroundings, you won't befall the blue disease that I noticed in the forest to the west.
Oh, the blue disease. Oh, don't like that.
No. There wasn't much left of them when that swept through. Though they didn't listen to me when I warned them of stop burning the wood they were collecting. Dreadful disease.
Oh, well, I suppose it must be a boon for the town that you've warned us that we won't be dealing with the blue disease. That's good. We've had bouts of that in the past, and frightfully dreadful. You're getting blue pox and you can't breathe, and it's just dreadful stuff. Well, all right. Here's a hammer. Feel free to hang around town, and I suppose if you find any adventurers, I hope you do well for yourself.
Thank you kindly. It's very appreciated. before I go,
Yes.
have you had any tremors in your legs lately?
Tremors? Well, Crazy Phil thought the fish were jumping into his boats for some reason at night, but I thought that was, I don't know, because he smelled like a fish and they wanted to be with him. Why? Tremors?
It's probably nothing. I'll speak to you again. Have a good day, Mayor.
All right. Bye-bye. And scene. All right. Well, yeah, that was kind of interesting how the mayor decided, like, oh, sure, I'll go along with this. You know, he saved us, let us know about, we're not going to be infected with the blue disease, the blue pox. But tremors in the lake, that definitely sounded a little ominous. I don't know what that means. Is there going to be a giant purple worm or something coming out of the lake, or a frog hemoth, or a Cthulhu monster?
I was thinking about it because I didn't want to since the blue disease isn't going to hit this town.
Right.
I didn't want to leave the mayor on feeling totally safe.
Oh.
So just like, do you have any shaking in your appendages? All right, I'll talk to you later.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So, getting into our final thoughts section, what did you think about this particular podcast?
I liked it. I think getting to these sort of open-ended, sort of creative affairs, I really dig those because they give you a chance to like really, really get creative, especially whenever it puts you like outside of the zone you're in. Like, I'm not super familiar with D&D or the lore and whatnot, but I love making a character within a world I'm unfamiliar with. And these random prompts I particularly like because they make you have to think. I can't pre-plan beforehand. I need to like, all right, what's this guy going to be?
Right.
What am I getting from these ideas? And I think that's what I like that most, that spontaneous creativity. So you can't like pre-plan it exactly. You just got to like let the dice fall where they are.
Exactly. Yeah. And that way, you're not having to run into too many Bobs or Bills or... That's why I decided to make this show, was to give dungeon masters and players the ability to have cool NPCs for free. So glad we could birth Roosevelt and unleash him upon the world. And will your towns be safe, or will they be, dead cities? Who knows?
If you listen to Roosevelt, you'll probably be okay.
All right.
Probably.
Well, so do you have any projects or things that you want to plug? Let people know where they can follow you, find you, and stuff like that?
Not really. I have a website, but it's not. I don't really update it as much. I would say find a charity to donate to. Team Trees was doing their thing a while ago. Yeah. I know Australia is still, recovering from its fires and stuff.
Right.
I would say find a charity and, donate $1. Donate however much you can.
All right. Well, that sounds like a fine idea. So thank you, Mr. Joseph, for being a guest on my show, and I hope we get to do this again sometime soon.
Same. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Sidekicks and Side Quests. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast through Apple Podcast, Google Play, and Overcast, or feel free to save the RSS feed to use the app of your choice. Visit our website, https://sidekicksandsidequests.com for links, write-ups of the NPCs, and to learn more about the podcast. To stay up to date and share your fan creations, you can like and follow the podcast on social media by searching for @SideKQ Podcast on Facebook and Twitter. The podcast is also on Reddit, so join our subreddit community at r/SideKQ Podcast to share your art, stories, discussions, and commentary. If you'd like to hail the bard, send an email to sidekicksandsidequests, all one word, @gmail.com. I ask that you please leave an honest review on iTunes to help spread the word about the show. Sidekicks and Sidequests is unofficial fan content permitted under the fan content policy, meaning I'm not approved or endorsed by Wizards. Portions of the materials used are property of Wizards of the Coast. Copyright Wizards of the Coast, LLC. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you at the pub next time.
Bar to rock on 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sidekick Kicks and Sidequests.